I want to jump into inspiration for training and watching mixed martial arts. We now know that some of that earlier content as a child inspired some of this, but one that I don't want to brush over, a big inspiration for you, you tossed this in already,
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. So why
Yeah.
don't you tell me about some of your earliest memories of watching his movies and how much living in Hong Kong till the age of 10 amplified his influence?
Yeah. So, um, what I've said before is, I feel like rather than being inspired directly by Bruce Lee, I was inspired by all the things that were inspired by Bruce Lee. So, like Mortal Kombat, the Ultimate Tournament, inspired by Enter the Dragon, all the fighting games, Street Fighter. Michelangelo wouldn't have nunchucks if it wasn't,
For
for
Bruce
Bruce
Lee.
Lee.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up in Hong Kong, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee were cultural icon. I feel like probably the most famous stars. I mean, at least you know that I can remember. Um,
Yeah.
I lived there until I was 10. So for me, they weren't even like martial arts movies. They're just like movies,
Yeah.
So,
It was the way to operate your life under.
yeah. Like, especially so when I was growing up, Jackie Chan was making like I don't know, at least like two movies a year. It's just like Jackie Chan movies all the time, and so for me, martial arts and regular art have always been intertwined because I was always, drawing what the characters that I loved, whether it was on movies or comic books or fighting games, like you were saying, and it just
Yeah,
all
yeah.
happened martial arts related. It's not like I didn't think I was going into a niche like, oh, I really like the martial arts things. It was just like Ninja Turtles was the most popular thing. Street Fighter was the most popular thing. Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee were the most popular thing. So that's just like what I like.
That's naturally what you gravitated towards because it was also so presented there as well. Talk to me about what age you pick up Muay Thai, and also if there was ever competitions that you did from that, or were you just training to stay in shape?
Well, I mean, I have fought amateur Muay Thai, but
Okay.
that was like maybe over 5 years ago, and I still do Muay Thai now. Just
That's still pretty recent, though. Oh, that's not that long ago. Yeah.
yeah. But I still work out, but it's more just to stay in shape. But I was a karate kid, so uh, one thing I remember when I was a kid, I had a subscription to this Ninja Turtles magazine, and
Okay.
it had one of the features was just like all these kids that were black belts, and they were just like
Mhm.
breaking boards, and I was like, oh, dude, I need that. I was like, that's what I want to be. So I did karate when I was a kid, and then I found Muay Thai. I discovered Muay Thai when I was in college, and that's kind of what I've been working on. I mean, working out ever since.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's pretty that's much later into, your life. So you did karate since what age till college days? When did you pick up
Probably,
karate?
like 11, 10 or 11. Yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah. I lived in Hong Kong until I was 10, and then I
Yeah.
moved here to karate. Yeah,
Very cool.
I took Chuck Norris karate because
Chuck
I live
What is Chuck Norris
in
karate?
Go, and it's basically a mix of all the things that Chuck Norris knew. So it was about, I would say, 80% Tang Sudo, which is basically the Korean form of Shotokan,
Okay.
with basic, blocks and all, like karate stuff. And then he was also a BJJ black belt, so we would do like super basic BJJ, and then I don't know. We also had some random, some like uh, you know, escape. Like if someone has a knife, you gotta go like this. So
What to do, where to hit them, pressure
yeah,
points.
when I moved here, I grew up in Virginia, so that was like the type of karate that they had in Virginia.
Okay, got it. And so while you're doing karate and then you pick up Muay Thai, at what point does the UFC hit your radar?
Oh, man, I don't even remember. Well, actually, I think UFC was like in college, no, in high school, middle school. It's like whichever one of my friends had the internet, like
Yeah.
it would just be, just for my guy friends. Oh, did you see this fight? This fight,
Okay.
the UFC fight. So it was more like I always knew about the UFC. You know, we'd always watch these random one-off fights that people would, download.
Yeah.
And I would say I really got into it. I mean, I definitely remember watching UFC 100 in college.
Okay. Yep.
I'm in college, um, but I feel like I really got into it when I moved to New York, and I was like a professional, grown up. And I remember, Machida. So remember, I told you I was a karate kid, and Machida was like on the scene, and I was like, oh my god, it's a karate guy. And I feel like that's kind of when I started following it more, you know, consistently.
Machida was underappreciated in my opinion in the UFC.
Oh yeah,
I absolutely enjoyed Machida and I loved his run to the title.
yeah,
And then at the same time, I thought Shogun did beat him the first time they fought for the
yeah, yeah,
title. So it brought me joy for Shogun that he was able to get it done in the second fight. But then
yeah.
Machida took some really tough L's against some obviously high level competition, Jones specifically, right?
Yeah.
One of the most
Oh,
wicked wicked walk away submissions of all time. But
yeah,
yeah, Machida is definitely someone that I felt like he came into the UFC a little older, so maybe that's why his time there was a little bit short lived. But I can
yeah,
appreciate that answer.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like all the guys during that era was. I think I was like the most like really heavily invested. Like I really love Rashad too. So it was kind of like
Hmm.
bittersweet when he lost too. I was like, oh, because I like Machida and I really like Rashad, especially coming off of the Ultimate
Yeah.
Fight. Um, but yeah, all those guys.
Is
Yeah,
Machida one of your earliest memories of the UFC? Like a fighter that you said, I'm going to become a fan of this fighter, or was there somebody even before that?
yeah, I think so because when you know I can't really remember following any kind of pop culture super consistently throughout college. Like even
Yeah.
I forget movies. Like some people are
Okay.
like, "Oh yeah, this movie came out," and I'm like, "I was in college, I guess." Like
I
I
can't do it that way either. I'm
yeah,
horrible at timing it that way. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like stuff in college. I don't know. Either I was like drawing too much, or like, um, you know, doing college stuff as
Yeah.
opposed to now it's like what's streaming now, like what's I know this trilogy that's been going, but so I feel like when I moved to New York, and I was like a professional and stuff like that, that's when me and my roommates would like, oh, the fight's on now, and then we'd watch something
Yeah.
on Saturday night, and then so I think about around like 2009, 2010.
Very cool. Have you been to a live event prior to, we'll say even prior to officially getting commissioned to do anything with the UFC?
Yeah, so you know what? I've been lucky because I've been like able to work with so many brands and stuff. I feel like I've only like paid to go to an event one time, and it was when they were in Newark. Who was fighting? Dillashaw and Henan Barrow, and
Okay.
um,
Oh, yeah. Jacare.
Jacare was fighting. But it was in Newark, New Jersey, and then
Yeah.
me and my roommate had binoculars and stuff like that.
Oh, you guys were that far.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to watch, dude. But especially, yeah, we were all. I can't remember what year that was, but that was like our first UFC that we went to. Yeah.